Hey, I'm late for school again. What's up? It's a culture detective here investigating your favorite animes, and today I'm going to be doing an anime review on the Tatami Galaxy, or in Japanese, Yo Johan Shinwa Taikei. So, this is an anime from the year 2010, I believe, and it is based off of a novel written by Morimi Tomiko. It is directed by the legendary one and only Yuasa Masaki, who, if you haven't heard the name of, then I'm afraid you're not a real anime fan. Ooh, because Yuasa Masaki has been nothing but an anime directing legend for the last 2 to 3 decades, all the way from movies like Mind Games, The Night is Short, Walk On Girl, which I will talk about a little bit more later, to amazing series like Devilman Crybaby, Kaiba, Ping Pong the Animation. Those movies and shows are all directed by Yuasa Masaki. He has a very specific style. He's quirky, he's colorful, and he defies anime conventions and rules. If there is such thing as a French New Wave in anime, Yuasa Masaki has definitely got to be one of those in this French Japanese new wave. And not only that, but the Tatami Galaxy is also produced under Studio Madhouse, who is responsible for some of the greatest animes ever produced. Paranoia Agent by Kon Satoshi, Monster, Chihaya Furu, One Punch Man, and Sonny Boy, which is right now tied with the Monogatari series as my favorite anime of all times. So obviously, the Tatami Galaxy is something that I've been dying to watch for a very long time now, and I had extremely high expectations going in. Now, another reason why I really wanted to watch this anime is because this is an anime about being a college student and sort of living life and seizing the opportunities in front of you and existentialism in a way. And it seems like this is the exact anime I should watch right now, as I am struggling every single day as a college student, eating garbage for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, barely having any time to sleep, wanting to socialize, but continue failing again and again and again and again and again. It seems like the Tatami Galaxy is written for me. So, of course, I was really pumped to check this one out. And I am surprised because this anime is not like what I imagined at all. And before watching this anime, I've already watched The Night is Short, Walk On Girl, so I sort of know what style Yuasa Masaki is known for. But I didn't know that he's gonna take his style from that film, which is released in 2017. This is from 2010. Whereas in this anime, it's his style, but like 20 times more magnified. And there are a couple things that about this anime series that I normally wouldn't particularly enjoy. And by that I mean the episodic structure. I love shows that are serial, stories that continue throughout the show and build up upon the last episode. And episodic shows that I enjoy are really few and far between. I think the only couple ones that I like, that I truly, truly love, are Mushishi and Cowboy Bebop. And yeah, I don't know. The episodic structure was definitely something that I didn't expect, and it did make me not enjoy the story as much in the beginning. Another thing is everyone talks insanely fast in this anime. And on episodes 1 and 2, I was not used to this hyper speed talking, and I felt distracted. I didn't know what I was supposed to focus on, and while episodes 1 and 2 I didn't like hate or anything, I was definitely a little bit underwhelmed. But throughout all the next episodes, I begin to get used to the hyperspeed talking, and by getting used to it, I mean I basically don't even read, because I read subtitles. I basically don't even read 40% of the subtitles, or 30 to 40% of the subtitles. At times I just skim through them, but I feel like that's part of the experience, because if you pause the anime and read every single line by line, word by word, you're not really getting much. These are crazy vocabulary, weird, obscure references to things that are not really integral to the plot or anything. And it's word salad, essentially. It's word decoration. In a lot of ways, this reminds me of the dialogue structures of the Monogatari series, because 70% of the dialogue in the Monogatari series aren't even central to the plot, but they're throw off jokes, they're references, they're wordplay, and it's just the writer having a laugh, having a giggle with themselves. And the Tatami Galaxy sort of works that way as well. Now, the Tatami Galaxy is about a guy with glasses, and his name is Watashi, which means I, me. So this entire story is written from his perspective. It's a very subjective story, so we see characters looking weird, acting weird, but you have to keep that in mind that it's not supposed to be realistic. And then we have Ozu, who is a recurring character, a mischievous, evil guy, and probably named after the amazing Japanese director Ozu Yasujiro. And every single episode is different. He enters the college campus in the first scene, and he sees all these flyers, and each flyers represents a circle, or I guess like a club or association or something like that. There's the English Conversation Club, there's Film Club, there's the Cycling Club, there's the Softball Club, there's this club, there's that club. And in the beginning of every single episode, he chooses a club hoping that he would get a rose-colored campus life. Holy shit, he's literally like me when I entered USC. Except, of course, I'm not going to try out all the clubs, but I'm going to, go to the film club general meeting tomorrow night if you're curious. But anyways, every time, every single episode, he joins a club, he thinks he's going to get rich, get laid, whatever. It all goes south. People just hate on him. He messes up. He gets ostracized, and he just screws up on every single episode. Now, I didn't really notice this pattern until at the very late into the story, but episode by episode, he gets better and better at living. So on episode 1, it's like rock bottom. It's like the worst of the worst of the worst. But as it builds up, his circumstances get better and better and better, meaning that in a parallel universe where he chooses a different club to join, he had made a better decision, essentially, butterfly effect. Episode 2, however, the film circle Misogi, is particularly entertaining because I'm in the film club, and even though I haven't been fully immersed myself in the USC film clubs, I've been in the film clubs in my previous community college, and I find it really entertaining because this episode is about filming an expose documentary on the evil, perverted film club president. And even though I haven't done something exactly like that, I'm doing something similar to that right now with a friend, which is very exciting. Also, I have to admit, whoever wrote this, I don't know if it's the work of Yuasa Masaki or if it's the novelist himself who made all these references to Ozu and Truffaut and Godard, and then in the last episode, Terayama Shuji, you can tell that whoever wrote this is a very well-read, a very cultured person, which I just really, really like. Episode 3 is okay. Episode 4, Disciples Wanted, I found a little bit boring and too loose to understand anything. Maybe it's because when I watched this episode, I was very sleep deprived and I nearly fell asleep 3 times in a 20-minute long anime episode. But the story only got better and better. I was beginning to worry that maybe this show is going to underwhelm me, but the second half of this show is absolute freaking masterpiece after masterpiece. We have episode 6, English Conversation Circle. First off, English, funny. But also, this episode is genuinely entertaining. We essentially have episodes 6, 7, and 8. These 3 episodes is a trilogy where on every single episode, at some point in the story, Watashi I will find himself in a situation, locked in a bathroom, where 3 girls also want to see him. And he, being the horny ass college student that he is, he was thinking, oh, I need to choose one of them to sleep with. But on every single episode, it doesn't go well. So the first episode, episode 6, is about Hanuki the dentist. And this episode is, I think, plot-wise, the easiest to follow out of all the episodes here. It's very straightforward to the point, extremely funny. And we're introduced to Johnny, who is this weird cowboy character who basically represents his sex drive. And it's almost a little Freudian because Johnny literally represents id. And because of himself arguing with Johnny is like super ego and id sort of like yelling at each other. And there's just a lot of self-doubt and struggling and hesitation and self-inflicted confusion. And it's also psychological and also relatable. And it's really just ridiculous. But it gets even more ridiculous on episode 7 where he decides to go out with Kaori, who isn't even a real woman, but he starts hearing her voice as if she's real. It's like he's going crazy. And we have this sequence under a bridge where he and Johnny the sex drive and Kaori the doll start talking to each other. It's like he's going insane. It's like full-blown schizophrenia. It's honestly really entertaining. The next episode, episode 8, is the one where he decides to meet Keiko in person. Keiko being the girl who he's been exchanging love letters, or I guess just letters to and from for 2 years straight. He decides to meet her and it didn't go well. I was like, oh, I know. Before the reveal, I already know it's going to be Ozu, and it's Ozu. And I did totally saw that coming, but it's still very funny. So 6, 7, 8 is particularly focused on his love life, and after all these 3 episodes sort of ended, he's exhausted and he realized that, okay, love is not my thing. It's impossible. Just fuck everything. I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go a completely opposite direction in order to try to be a good instead of trying to be a good, kind, decent human being in college in order to be more social and get laid and get rich or whatever, why don't I just go the completely opposite? We have episode 9, which is the antithesis of all the stories here, because Watashi, becomes a villain character where he joins a secret society and becomes the evil leader of the illegally parked bikes police, where they steal bikes that are illegally parked. And again, that is also like a reference from one of the earlier episodes in the cycling club episode. So as the story goes along, it's actually accumulative. So Hanuki the dentist sort of appears more and more and more. Johnny appears every single episode after it's being introduced. And every single episode starts referencing to random things about from previous episodes that feel like one-off jokes. You know, the Castella on the ground, Nekoramen, which is this constantly appearing ramen restaurant, and all these things. The air balloon, the raven-haired girl from the weird factory. Like, it gets pretty crazy and it gets pretty messy. But by the end of this series, you sort of figure out all these elements and you know how to piece them all together like a puzzle piece, which is really fun. But with episode 9, he becomes powerful. He joins secret society, he becomes powerful, and he gets to party and have fun, but somehow he still feels hollow. And that basically plummets him to the lowest of the lows. And now we enter episodes 10 and 11, which are straight fucking masterpieces. These 2 episodes are 2 of the best anime episodes I've ever seen, because it is only on episode 10, the second last episode, where we have finally arrived at the central thesis of this anime. All 9 of the first 9 episodes, just they're not revealing the full story here. But on episode 10, we finally know what's going on. We have him essentially giving up and staying in his room, becoming a shut-in, staying in his 4.5 tatami sized room. And he stayed in that room so long, he refused to go out to socialize, he refused to, try new things. He's stuck in the room so much that he's actually stuck there. And for 1.5 anime episodes, he's stuck there and he tries to escape, but he opens a door and he enters the same room again. And he breaks down the wall, and the other side of the wall, it's the same room again. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And It's extremely interesting, and it is at this point when I finally sort of understood what the anime is going for. It's almost like the entire anime is from the perspective of the eye on episodes 10 and 11. The reason why all these people, like Ozu and the Master, the reason why they all look so weird and they all do all these ridiculous things is because these are the recollections of I after he's been stuck in this 4.5 tatami size room and after he's explored all the parallel timeline tatami rooms. And on top of that, it's him realizing at first it's great, being stuck in a room, being, alone, no one bothering you, that's great. But he starts crying, he yearns for social interactions, he wants to eat ramen, he wants to go out and try new things and get hurt and born anew. And it's so moving. Suddenly this becomes a very full of philosophical show about, going out there, live, try new things, carpe diem, seize the day. And it reminds me a lot of Evangelion's episodes 24 and 25 because it just breaks the story completely, and it also uses a lot of real life footage. Episode 24 is just non-stop real life footage. Like they actually filmed like fish burgers, or I think it's like luncheon meat, like Spam. They filmed the tatami room and actually put it into the anime. The anime is artsy as hell when you see they use real life footage. This isn't just your average anime. They broke verisimilitude. That shit is important. And then we have the ending, and oh my god. Oh my freaking god. He breaks out of the room. I'm sorry for spoiling it for you. He breaks out of the room, he grabs the binoculars, and he sees all these people that he's been thinking about, that he's been learning about in all these other tatami rooms, and he sheds a tear knowing that these people are real people. Suddenly I feel really overwhelmed because I also find myself surrounded by all sorts of people, yet sometimes I feel like I can't quite connect with them because I don't know them, and sometimes I just want to give up. But sometimes I forget how lucky I am to be surrounded by people in the first place. People, period, full stop. And even if I'm not like super connected with these people, at least these are living, breathing storytellers that I get to live with, that I get to exist in the same space with. And this particularly reminds me of like the people I used to go to school with in secondary school, and how they all have their own lives, they all have their own struggles and ups and downs. And even though I never got to really talk to them and reveal them who I really am and talk to them in depth or whatever, but I should feel blessed for having known them in the first place. And that's something I almost cried. Like I was really moved at that moment. It was very cathartic. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's just amazing. It's one of those animes that in the beginning it's sort of but like it just gets better and better, and it just really sticks the landing. Ultimately, it's about carpe diem. It's about seize the day. Go out, get a life, touch grass, get hurt, born anew, and just live to the fullest. And you know what? This is awesome. And this is something that I definitely needed as a college student. Yeah, carpe diem, guys. Carpe diem. I am giving the Tatami Galaxy a strong 9 to a 10 out of 10. And it's a 10 only because of the ending. If the ending didn't exist, it would have been like a strong 9. Yeah, so have you watched the Tatami Galaxy? Comments below, let me know. Subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.